Hey everyone, Paul, it's Sam. Welcome to part 3 of our Fujimi 1/24th Ford GT40 build. Before we get going today, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the little bell notifications, get notified of all our latest videos. Click the like button and leave a comment. I do read and reply to all the comments and appreciate everybody that takes the time to leave a comment on the channel. And of course, if you scroll up in the description, there's a link to a big long list of all the items I use in my videos. So if you see anything, you should be able to find it in there. So we're going to get the whole thing finished today. We're going to get all the bodywork sorted, finish off the windows. We're going to polish up the body, get that body shell on, which I know is a hell of a job to do. Very, very careful. And hopefully getting this looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy how it's going. What it's going to look like when it's all together, I don't know. So we'll go through, have a look at the rest of the build, and I'll take some pictures and we'll have a little chat about it at the end. So let's get going. So straight in at the deep end today, we've got our 1200 micro mesh. We've torn a piece off already. We're going to use this wet with tap water, and we're just going to lightly scuff over the body. So the 2K's been curing after about 10 days. There's no real flaws in the 2K, so there's no need to use any more aggressive paper. We're just going to use the 12,000 to scuff over it and remove any light surface imperfections that are there. Now, somebody did leave a comment a while back saying that this won't touch the 2K. It does, ever so slightly scuffs it, and we can go down in the grades if we need to. But with having no actual flaws there, I didn't feel there was any need to go any more abrasive. So we're just going to lightly scuff all the body, all over to slightly dull the sheen. It only does it a little bit, and then we'll come with our polish and give it a good polish up and get a nice high shine to the finish as we go. So yeah, no real pressure being applied. We're just letting the paper do all its work, and we're allowing precautions for any raised areas and corners, because they're the ones that's really easy to burn through. So as you can see, coming to an end now. We've been systematically all round, just taking care where we go. Just watch those raised areas, it's so easy to burn through. When you're done, we'll give it all a wipe over, and then we've got our polish. This polish will all become apparent very soon. We've got a duster, which I'm going to move over to microfiber cloths. I've been using dusters for a while. They're cheap, they're easy to do, but they leave so much fluff everywhere. So yeah, I moved over to microfiber now. So this will be the last time you see my fluffy dusters. But they're easy to cut, easy to use, but I just don't think they give the best finish myself. So we're going to apply polish all over the body, a little bit too much on that side, but hey, it doesn't really matter. Like I say, this is polish I've been using for a while, and it'll all become apparent very soon. All I will say is it works absolutely fantastic. Look at any of my builds from the last, 4 months. And this is what I've been using on all of those, getting a grey high shine. There's a compound to go along with it as well, should you need a more aggressive polish, as well as a wax and a detail shiner as well. So all that will become very apparent very soon, so stand by and just keep an eye out. So again, we're going all around the body, we're watching all those raised areas, we're watching any areas we can snag. We don't want to rip off parts or snag body panels, and just be careful of that bonnet hood, I guess it's panel, because it's only glued on underneath. It's I felt mine moving when I was going over, to be very, very careful. And again, just systematically all around, watch all those raised areas, don't go too mad. I'm not applying tons of pressure here, but we are giving it a little bit of beans, because we want to get a nice high shine. But it's nice and forgiving. All you got to be careful is, like where I put ever such a slight too much of the product on there. When you're done, you're probably going to get a toothbrush and just getting all those recessed panel lines just to get it all out. But it's simple to do, really simple and easy to do. And like I say, just with this light polish and a good buff off, we're getting a nice high shine off this, and it really make the most of the 2K. And if you need to flat it, if you put your 2K on a little bit too heavy, go a little bit more aggressive than 12,000. Go down to say 8 or even 6. And work your way through the grits. But obviously, the more aggressive you go with the micro mesh, the gentler you've got to be with the finish. And that'll get rid of the toy look if your 2K is a little bit too thick. And then come in with the polish or compound, whichever you see fit. So there we go, we changed now. We've got a clean duster. And we're just working our way around, giving all the body a good buff up. And as you can see, we've got a beautiful shine there. Comes up really well. It's a very strange colour, this. I love how it changes from gunmetal to dark grey to brown, depending on the light. It is a very weird colour, and I'm glad I chose it for this body. As you can see, we're getting a nice high shine now. We're just going to work our way around all of this, give it all a good buff up. And then once we get it all assembled again, we'll give it another buff up and give it a light wax or detail spray, depending on what way we feel necessary. So again, just be careful with your cloth. Don't be grabbing any corners or edges. I've been there and done it and ripped things off. It's very easy to do. There we go, our final little buff up. That's looking good. So there we go. We'll pop that to one side, put our polish away. Like my little smiley face on the tub. So like I say, stay tuned for the polish. Shouldn't be too long. And it's a phenomenal product. I've been testing it, as have others. And nothing but positive results so far. Now, we've got our rear lights. So these are 4. I've cleaned off 3 already. We're just using the UMP Thinny Sponge Sander. And a Thinny Buffer as well. Clean them all up, and then I'm going to pop them on the sticky side of masking tape on a stick so we can brush paint them. So we've got 2 that are going to be in Tamiya Clear Orange and 2 that are going to be Tamiya Clear Red. We're going to brush paint them, leave them to dry. We're going to brush paint them on the exterior and then pop them in place. You could brush paint them on the back. It's going to show through. It depends on the look, but I think I thought this would look better. I think it'd give a more purposeful look to the tail light. I think going the other way, you see a little bit too much clear because it's stepped. It's not a flat surface. It's a 2-stage step. So careful cleanup here. There's 2 locator points on each part. Just a careful bit of cleanup, and we're all good. So we've got some Vallejo silver. We're going to fill in our light clusters in the back and use a micro brush because it's nice and simple and easy to get to. I'm just going to do the very back. So circular motion. Wipe off any excess. The beauty of 2K is acrylic paints just wipe off nicely, especially the water-based ones. And we're going to do this for all 4. Just fill in all the backs of the lights with silver paint like that. Nice and simple. Once that's dried, we can PVA the lights in. Job done. So, mixed up some Vallejo model colour black. We've added a drop or 2 of water just to thin it, and we're going to paint our front light, what would we call these, bezels, clusters, housing. I'll go with housing, I think. Our front light housing. So this is all black, and obviously we've got the clear part to go over the top, and there's a clear light unit to pop in from the front, which you'll see in a minute. So just some nice careful painting. You could mask off and spray this if you wanted. I just find this quicker and easier, and as long as you don't keep going back over the black, you get a nice smooth finish. And just thin it a touch with a little bit of water. Slows down the drying. You can thin it with UMP, and it works absolutely perfect. It just dries it a bit quicker, I think, because as the thinner evaporates, it dries it a tad quicker. So when I want it to be highly visible like this, I'll just thin with water. I think it looks a little bit better. So we'll do both of those. Now we've got our rear lights. So we've got a clear red, and we're putting it on quite liberally. We're not pooling it on, but we are putting it on quite thick because we want it to dry and self-level itself. So we're going all around, getting it all covered. So you've got 2 red, 2 orange. Just make sure you get all the areas. Now what we'll do, because the paint is going onto the masking tape, we don't want to stick to it. Once we've painted them, they're only on here to paint. We'll lift them off with a knife and put them elsewhere to dry, and then they won't stick to the paper. And it's a lot easier. You could also airbrush them while they're on here. And to be honest, it probably would give a better finish, but the clears are quite finicky to spray. So I just find this the quicker route. So that's the reds done. Onto the orange. Same principle. It's not thinned, it's straight out the bottle. I've had these bottles for years. I've already been through a bottle of red just for doing this. It shows you how many cars I've made over the years. Just making sure I've got even coverage all over. Once we're happy, pick it up with our knife blade. So you can see the paint left on the masking tape. We don't want to leave it on there because it'll stick to it, and when we pull it off later, there's a good chance we'll pull the paint off the light. So we'll very carefully and gingerly lift them off with our knife, place all 4 of them on there and let them dry. So just a 1 window surround to paint black on this. So we've got our adhesive tape. I'm just looking for the 1mm and then decide on the 1.5 instead. As you do, you change your mind. I've just got that 1 piece to mask around the front. So we've got our Tamiya decal scissors. We're going to pull off a piece of tape and carefully mask all around. So there are videos showing this. If you go to the Subaru guide from last year, or the year before rather now, I show fully how to do this, but we're just going to show part of the front. So it's simple. Get yourself a piece of 1 or 1.5mm tape. This gives you a little bit of a chance to curve it around. We've not got a massive curvature here, so the slightly thicker 1.5 will do. Detack it on your hand. Line up the middle, right at the front. There's a nice panel line on this to follow. And then using your judgment, pop it on. And then as it curves, hold it with your finger. And then allow it to follow the line round. If you're not happy, peel it back, start again. This is the beauty of this. In my opinion, you can never detack this tape enough. I've never had a problem with bleed through off it. It works absolutely perfect. The A0 is just as good a quality as Tamiya tape, just in much thinner, useful sections. So follow that piece all the way around. Once you're happy, we can burnish it down with a cotton bud. Same up the side. Get it in place. Once you're happy, just run a cotton bud down the edge. You know that your edge is down, you're not going to get any bleed through. If you're not happy, grab your tweezer. With this, there's a little recess, so we're just pushing it into the recess panel line with our tweezers. Same with the other side, and then onto the top. Again, just follow it round. We've got a real nice panel line to follow. And because I put a wash in there, it's very prominent. We can really see where we're going. Once you're happy, again, put it in place, burnish it down. We then go around with Tamiya masking tape to fill in the larger areas. And then we've got some cling film or saran wrap, depending where you are in the world, to fill in all the larger areas rather than wasting tons of masking tape. I find this works well. So roll a piece out on your bench, fold it over so it's doubled up, and then cut it into sections, and away you go. So in the booth, we've got some UMP airbrush cleaner. No, we haven't, not yet. UMP primer black. And we're just going to put 3 light coats on this screen. So there's 1. We've done the second one off camera. This is our final one. You don't want to hose it on because that's when you'll risk getting bleed through. And when you are masking, be very careful and make sure it is fully masked. So we've got our precision pen, or perfect pen as it's properly called. And we've got some kicker from Deluxe Materials. So we're going to put a little bit of kicker in a pot. We've got our micro brush. We've already got our sea glue on another pot. You can get these pots from myself and Leia Ultimate. They're very, very handy. And we're going to put our front windscreen. And as you can see, we've already cut it off and cleaned it up. It's in place. There's 2 small locating points at the top. But we're going to apply a little bit at the back on each side, quite liberally. A couple of nice little dots. This is the only piece of glass that goes on the inside. So just take your time. Don't be getting near the edges. We don't want to be able to see it from outside, and it will haze. Once you're happy, push it down. Now, this is one of those mistakes I'll talk about at the end, where I hold this now with our finger. I forgot to wipe the fingerprints off when it was done. So, with the struggle I have with this body in a bit, I don't want to take the body back off. So there's a slight fingerprint on the inside of the glass. It's not massively visible, but when I was finished, I was thinking, how the hell has that got there? Then when I edited the video, I thought, that's where it came from. But hey, one of those things, lessons learned. On most car bodies, they're really simple to get back off. With this, they're an absolute nightmare. So I'd rather leave it, have a slight fingerprint, than run the risk of ruining it. So we'll put a little bit on each side of the A-pillar as well. We've hit that with kicker. That's going to go to one side and dry. We've now got our front light lenses, and we're just putting some of that Vallejo silver on the back side of it. Again, we're using a micro brush. These are very handy tools, and there are links for these in the description of the video. Once they've dried for a good half an hour and our light units, housings have dried, we're just going to pop them in place, push it in, same with the other side, and then from the back add a dab of CA glue, and again hit it with kicker on the micro brush, and we're all done. So there's our interior. Now this is really tricky. So the best bet for this is don't put any of the other glass in, just put the front screen in, and then get the side on at one point, and then at the back. Trust me, you wouldn't believe how tight this is getting it over. So you've got to put one side on and then push and stretch the body outwards, as you can see. So I'm being as gentle as I can because I don't want to really spread the body and either crack 2K or pull that windscreen off. So we're just going around and we're just inching it over as we go. There we go, we get over one part and then we go around to the other side. There we go, and then we push it down, and then at this point we need to get the front in. So there we go, there's the front going in. Now we need some tweezers, we need some tools, some hardware. Just take your time doing this. You've just got several points to get that body over on the side, and it will go in. So once the front's in, and both sides are clicked over, as you can see, there we go. Okay, so now it stops on the back. So make sure it's pushed all the way forward. And now we've got to manhandle the back. So we need to, see how it's bending the body, the chassis? So we need to lift it up a bit, push those in, nerve-wracking, and there we go. And there's a couple more parts, just need to lift it over. And that is it. It is tight as hell. Unless you built one of these, you won't know how tight that body is, and hence the reason I don't want to take it back off. So there we go, we clipped the back in now. And it's all on its wheels, so thank God for that, rather nerve-wracking. So just making sure it is pushed fully home, and it is. Once it's on, it does hold itself pretty well. The wheels are a little bit loose, just because of the fitment type that they have, but they sit in there okay. So the rest of the glass, we're onto the rear glass, and we're going to use our pen. Sadly, my edding pen has died, so we're onto a Sharpie. As you can see, it's over on the right. So I need to buy a new one of those. I prefer the edding pen to the Sharpie. I just prefer the nib on the edding pen, to be honest. I think we might grab a few different sizes this time as well, a little bit bigger. But the Sharpie will do the job. I also find the edding pen dries a little bit quicker as well. So all we're doing is we're running this around the edge of the glass, and that will give the impression of a rubber seal around the edge. So just take your time. You don't want to get it on the glass. If you do, use a cotton bud with some of our airbrush cleaner on it. That'll take it off. No problem at all. But try and not touch the fresh side like that if you can. But if you have to, you have to. Now, another thing I will change in this build, I've used Deluxe Materials Glue and Glaze, which is a fantastic PVA-based glue. I've put it on too thick. And I thought there was going to be less tolerance in the plastic parts than there was. So when I plunked the glass in, there was quite a bit of excess. And I thought, you see the way it's squeezed out at the top? And I thought, no, it'll be okay. It dries clear. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We'll try it. And I wish I hadn't. I wish I'd taken it back off, cleaned it, and put ever so slightly less glue in, because once it's dried, you can't see it, unfortunately. So, lesson learned. Either use a lot less glue or stick to the aquagloss technique, which I'm going to show you on the lights in a minute. So we've got the rear glasses in. Just wiping off any excess glue. I wish we could get to inside, but hey, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Wipe off any excess. You don't want it to dry. It will wipe off when it's dry, but you might as well get it now. It makes life a lot easier. And then leave it to dry. Just make sure it is sat fully home. If not, keep pushing it in. As it dries, it will hold itself in there. And there we go, there's all the glass in there. So we've got glue marks on the side, glue marks on the back, and a fingerprint on the front. Like I say, lessons learned, we know for next time. So the front lenses are in. They've been sanded clean. There's a little bit of flash on one and then the sprue points on the other. So we're just making a bit of a tidy up here, and then we're going to grab some Aquagloss, which is the AL600 Clear from Alclad. As you can see, I've loaded up a brush with it. I'll let the capillary reaction go between the body and the clear part, and this is a much more reliable way of attaching clear parts. I've tried the odorless CA glue, glue and glaze, they all leave marks on the glass. This dries crystal clear and does work very, very well. So this is my normal technique, and I'm going to stick to this rather than changing things. So we've got both of those headlight units in, and now we've got our indicator units at the front. These aren't the best fit, but they do fit, but they're not as good as the headlight. So again, bit of glue and glaze around the edge, and then we're onto our backlights. So we're adding a dab of glue and glaze in here. This is where glue and glaze reigns supreme, I think. I prefer if I'm putting parts on. It dries quicker than PVA. It does dry clearer, and it's good for sticking in things like these lights. Once they're in place, they look good. Now, we did change a few parts on the chassis. There's a couple of parts on the back that should be black. I didn't want to do them black, so I left them in the matte aluminium colour, just to be different, because that's how I roll. But there you go, the lights fit in no problem, apart from that one that I dropped. Go on, pick it up. And there we go. That's those in. So they've got good grip of those, they can sit and dry. The PE on the back, like I say, I chose to keep this silver. I could have painted it black, and it would look really good in black, but I thought, you know what, the silver's different. It adds a bit of interest to the back end. So that was my thought. So a little bit more of the glue and glaze. Just a few dabs. Make sure it orientated the right way, which is that way. And then we can drop it in place, push it home, wipe off any excess, and that's job done. Now, if you leave the glue and glaze on your receptacle like I have there, if you leave it there for a little bit, it'll go a lot tackier as it dries a little bit, and it becomes super sticky. And at this point, it's really good to use as a glue. So I always put it out way ahead of when I need it, so that it does tack up a bit, and it just gives a bit more purchase when you're putting parts on. And again, just leave it, let it dry for a minute, and then a final wipe over. And that's that done. So we've got a fuel filler cap. Now, chrome is one of those colours that's a bit of a nightmare. It's one everyone tests and wonders which is best. These monochrome pens are fantastic, but they are not hardware and go on. Now, I knew I'd never touch this again, so I thought it's perfect for this. So we've got my 2mm monochrome pen. I'm just going to get all around the edges and give it a nice wet coat over the top. We're then going to grab it with our tweezers as gentle as possible, push it home, and then dab a little bit more on top so it self-levels and fills the mark where the tweezers have been. Now, that was the theory, and it actually did work well. So you can see the hole on the hood where we're going on the bonnet by the wheel arch. So again, a nice bit of tacky glue and glaze right in the middle. That's more than enough. And we grab it with our decal tweezers, drop it in, and then push it in the hole with our normal tweezers. And then at the point we just put that into the chrome, we'll grab our chrome pen, dab it on, and that will fill the hole and self-level itself out and leave a nice chrome finish. So there we go. That's it. Wheels look great. I'm happy I chose that colour. It's come along really, really well. Final parts, we got our bonnet pins. Now, I didn't want to leave out the actual the wire part of these, so I cut it off, and we've just used a cylindrical part and popped it in place. I thought it looked a bit better myself. Like I say, it's not the norm GT40, it's a road/track car. So yeah, I just wanted to go a little bit of a different route. So a little bit of the white glue and glaze again, and again, perfectly glued in place. And our front radiator, we've got a Tamiya panel line wash. We're going to pop that in, and we'll wipe off the excess when it's all fully dried. So I brush painted that with the Vallejo Model Air again. Left to dry for a few hours, hit it with the wash, and we can use a cotton bud to remove the excess. Final wipe over. And again, the reason I don't like these cloths is they do leave fluff everywhere. Get the toothbrush in to get rid of excess polish that was left behind, and just give it all the final polish. It's not my best work, this, but it looks different. I think the red one was much prettier and I did a better job on it, but it is what it is. It's an unusual looking one, especially with those bronze wheels, and I think it looks quite dark and sinister. But like I say, not my best work, a few flaws here and there, but hey, we're our own worst critics, aren't we? And that's it. So there we go, let's go back to me. Right then, there we go. So, yes, it came out well. It's different. It's a different colour. It looks dark, it looks a bit moody. And like I said, I've done this more of a track car, road car kind of thing. I know Keith commented on the lack of a passenger seatbelt, but yeah, this doesn't have passengers in it. It's just fine. So yeah, that's the way it is. It's not a race car, it's not a road car, it's an in-between. I'm happy with the colour. It's a strange colour, that LP20. It really is. In some lights it looks brown, then it goes gunmetal, and then it changes colour. It's really, really weird. Don't think it shows that well in the pictures. But we'll pop some pictures up and have a little chat. Now, it's not quite as vibrant or as pretty as the red one I did a while back, because that was stunning. But I chose this colour just to be different and give it a bit of a different look, hence the different colour wheels, and so on and so forth. So yeah, just my little different take on it, which is going to be something you're going to see soon as well, which we'll discuss in a bench update next. But yeah, let's have a chat about it. So yeah, I primed it in UMP black primer, and we sprayed several coats of LP20 gunmetal over it, light gunmetal. Like I said, which is a very, very weird colour. It really is. We gave it a Tamiya panel line wash, and then we 2K'd it in the Gravity 2K clear. I was debating whether to put stripes over it. I chose not to, and I'm glad I did now, because I think I like this dark, moody look of it. I think I quite like it. It's the complete opposite, polar opposite to the one I did last time, which was nice, bright, vibrant. This one's a bit darker and a bit more sinister looking. Chassis and interior, a mix of LPs and AK paints, so Tamiya and AK. A lot of LP5 semi-gloss black on this, as is with most kits. Wheels, we changed from the gold and black because it just looked odd, and moved over to the AK bronze, which again is a very strange colour, and I think it suits the gunmetal, so I'm glad I chose that as well. And just a few little things that we did. A couple of things have changed, or one had definitely changed, which we'll chat about in a second. The bonnet pins, I didn't use the wire, cut the wire off and just put the bonnet pin on, because the wire, I didn't like the look of the wire, so we just used the actual circular part of the bonnet pin to put that on. And the grille on the back, I just left it bare silver. I thought it looked quite good like that, different, and I thought we'd give it a look like that. Things have changed. So number one, when I'm doing this bodywork, I've got to make sure to get all those blemishes off, because there's one on the front left wing as you look from the driver's seat that's glaring obvious, and it's under the 2K. It's too late, and that's laziness on my part. So preparation is something that we'll be listening to about ourselves, but it just shows you if you don't do something, it'll bite you in the arse later on. And I used the gluing glaze on the windows. Now, I normally use aqua gloss like I did around the front lights, and that's completely invisible. And the gluing glaze I was hoping would be, but I think I put it on a tad thick, and you can see it in places. It's one of those, I could take it off, it will come back off, it'll take the paint with it, and I'll have to repaint it and clean the glass. And to be honest, it's not that recognisable of a blemish, but I know it's there, and for future I'll continue to use my aqua gloss. So the aqua gloss, like we did in the video, use your brush, a small pot of it, and just dab it and let the capillary reaction carry it around, and it will glue parts in. It's pretty good like that. Other than that, it's a pig getting that body on. It really is an absolute nightmare getting that body over that chassis. You can literally hear it starting to crack and groan, and yes, it's not great, but it will go on. So put the front in first, put the sides over, get the front in, clip the sides down, and then you're going to have to manhandle the back in by lifting the back up and pushing the luggage compartments in. Thank you, told me that last time. But it is doable. It's a good kit. They seem to have gone up in price, which is crazy. They're like 40 odd quid now. I paid 25 quid for each of these. I've still got another one in the stash up there. But yeah, it's a good kit. And if you can get it, it is a good kit. It's very simple, very basic. But as an overall, build, it's not bad at all. So there we go, that's it, another video build out the way. Now, next video build was going to be the Chevelle. We're waiting on paint, which I'm not going to get for at least another week. Probably maybe a week. So there's something else in the meantime, which I already started, and you'll see it, and it's a little bit of a different, same kind of principle as this build. Yes, I'm not going to tell what it is, because every time I announce my build, one appears on ISM, so I'm keeping my builds to myself from now on. Yes, and then we'll knock on with the Chevelle and the bike. I'm going to knock a bike part out this week as well. So yes, keep an eye out for the next build. I'll probably do a bench update in the meantime, or we'll talk about it in that. And then we'll get the first part up. It's already filmed, we're waiting on paint to arrive. Once I get it painted and 2K'd, I'll release the first part of the video for it, and we'll crack on. So there we go. Have a guest in the chat if you think you know what it is, and I'm video building next. That'll be interesting to see. So there we go. As always, thank you for everyone that comments on the videos. It's much appreciated. The feedback I get is great as well. Thank you very much. And thanks for everyone last time told me there were luggage compartments on the back. I forgot about those rules. I knew about the seat, and there's a toolkit they've got to carry as well. But yeah, I forgot all about the luggage compartments. So yeah, that makes sense on the back. Very strange rules, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, everyone in the comments, much appreciated. Thanks for all the support, all the thumbs up. Thank you very much. If you're not subbed to the channel, sub to us, click the little bell notification, give us a thumbs up, and do leave a comment. I read every single one and reply to them all as well. Check out International Sky Model Facebook page and forum, umpretail.com, where you can get all the things you see in these videos. There's a big list in the description down below of everything I use. Everything you can see almost is linked in there. Check out the Live the Bench page for the live show, the Off Air Hangout group for Off Air Hangouts, which come and join because they're great fun. And check out my Paul ISM Facebook page where all my personal modelling work is shared, and you'll see stuff that isn't shown on here. Usually when I'm working on stuff, it's on there way before it's on camera. So head on over there. I'm about 7 likes away from 3,000 likes and about 3,100 followers now, which is great. So head on over there and have a look. You will get prior info to the builds and progress as well, because I post there nearly every day probably. And there we go. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in a bench update next. It'll probably be in a day or so. And then the next build video, we'll get a part out. Then we'll do a bike video. And that's it. There we go. Thanks for watching today. Catch you all later. Take care. Bye-bye.